Alright everybody, so today we're going to be making char cloth, and you're going to need a couple things to do this. First of all, you're going to need a tin container. I use Altoids containers because they're easy to come by. And you're also going to need an old cotton material. Now this is just an old sock, and I'm going to be using this thicker part up here to make the char cloth. Now, what char cloth is it's a cotton material or an organic material that's been charred to accept a spark. Now what makes this useful is if you're using a fire starting technique that only makes a spark and you need to blow it into an ember, this will catch your spark. So here's char cloth that I made before in this container. And I'll give you a quick demonstration. So here's this piece of char material. And when you take a spark to it, whether it be from a flint and steel, an actual flint and steel, or one of these fire steels, it'll take a spark. Now, just like that, it's already accepted the spark. And you can kind of see it glowing red hot right there. And from here, you would take it and put it into a tinder bundle, and it would start accepting a flame. And you can see right here, it's glowing red. And you put that into a bird's nest and it will catch. So right now, I'm actually gonna go put this down in the fire and get that started. And again, if you're using a fire steel, you don't really need to do this, but it does show that char cloth works. So I'm just going to go ahead and start putting this kindling on. And when you're doing this, you want to get a decent base of coals. So right now, I'm just going to keep layering this up. And that'll get big enough in time while we're doing the rest of it. Okay, so now that we have the fire in the background burning down and creating a nice bed of coals, what you're going to do is, you can use the entire sock, I just prefer to use this bit, is go ahead and cut that bit off and begin cutting it into small little squares. So what I like to use for that is my Leatherman. Just go ahead and cut across, and then after you get this kind of little loop, go ahead and cut down both sides, and that's going to give you 2 squares. And the reason I use this bit is because it's so thick, it'll accept a spark easier when you're trying to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so now we have our stack of little squares and our tin container of choice. So before you start, make sure you poke a small hole with like a thumbtack in the middle. You only need one, and this is where the gases are going to escape and burn off, leaving only the charred material. Now what you're going to want to do, go ahead and grab these and go ahead and just layer them. You don't have to pre-burn your char tin, it'll just smoke more the first time you do it, but after that it'll kind of take on this patina, and that's just fine. So go ahead and layer these in. You want it to be quite full, but not so full that it won't close, because you don't want this to bulge and pop open in the fire, because then it'll catch fire and you'll be left with a box of ashes instead of charred material. Like, see, that's too much, so I'm going to take out one. And that's nice and closed. So what we're going to do, we're going to wait for the fire to burn down, and then we're going to put this right on the coals, and that's pretty much all you have to do. So the fire here is a little too flame still, so we're going to go ahead and just kind of scoop everything into the center. Same kind of fire, if you're familiar, that you would want to cook on. Just go ahead, break everything down. And honestly, right here in the middle, is going to be nice and ready as soon as this burns down just a little bit more. But you want to scoop everything together so you don't lose any of your heat, basically. And you can see how it's starting to just leave some hot embers behind. That's really what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the tin and place it on the fire. Okay, so the fire is at a place where I want it, and I'm just going to go ahead Make sure that's shut once again, and place it right on the flames. On the coals, rather. And you can also just kind of scoop everything up around it. And at first, nothing will happen, and it's kind of just a waiting game. So just go ahead, leave that there, and you can kind of bring some stuff up to the side if you'd like. It doesn't really make that much of a difference as long as it gets hot. And now we wait for a few minutes until something starts to happen. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add just a little bit of wood to firstly hold the lid down, and also to just get some more heat up and around that, but I'm making sure to not block that little hole I have right there. So as you can see, we're further along than we were before, and you can notice that there's a little tiny flame right here where the little hole is, and basically that is all the gases and oils that are inside the cotton burning off. And you can see if I blow on it, smoke will come out briefly and then it'll catch fire again. So we want to continue to keep this in the coals until that little tiny flame out there goes away, and then it's done. So it's been about 15-20 minutes since we first put it on the flame, and you can see there's no more smoke coming out. So it's done. I'm going to go ahead and grab this carefully. You don't want to open this because if the air gets in there, it'll spontaneously combust. So I'm just going to carefully take that out and put it off to the side. Okay, so now it's had plenty of time to cool down, and just for comparison, I haven't opened this yet. This is what it looked like before, and this is now cold to the touch. I'm going to go ahead and open this and see what we got. These little flakes are just from the plastic inner burning off from a while ago. And there you have it. So it's quite brittle, so it's just something to keep in mind. You can tear it apart pretty easily. But there you have it, some completed char cloth. And that'll take a spark just like I showed you guys in the beginning. So if you enjoy these videos and you want to see more like it, please hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.